Welcome back to the House of Kayfabe. I am the other Steve, and I am here with an old familiar face. If you're a long-time viewer, you know that this man has been away putting together a young family and has not had time for us in the house, but he's back because we got some big news. He is the walking encyclopedia of wrestling. He is the only Derek Jones that matters. Derek Jones is Shane O'Mac all elite.
That's such a good question. There's obviously let's just throw it out there. We're all talking about it now because there was a photo. There's a photo of Shane and Tony Khan in a conference room at an airport that was apparently leaked by Mercedes Monet, Sasha Banks, whatever you want to, whatever you want to call her. She has confirmed that she is the one that took the photo. I don't know that she leaked it or someone else leaked it for her, but it has two major wrestling personalities across the desk from one another. And that could lead to a lot of interesting, very, very interesting things.
So we're going to get into if he is or isn't going to be all elite because we're actually filming this right before Dynamite. So we might be doing this in about 2 hours again, Derek. But I think everyone is thinking this is the first time that they've gotten together just because we see it. When we see something, we believe it more. Do you think, and this is reckless speculation, and we love reckless speculation here at the House of Kayfabe. Do you think that they would come out and do something on Wednesday, less than 24 hours from that picture being printed?
Absolutely, because I don't think this is the first time that Tony Khan and Shane McMahon have been in talks with one another. I don't think it was just a hey, you're casually at an airport, I'm casually at an airport. Let's chat in a private room that I already have set aside. That's not a thing. People don't do that. Even eccentric billionaires don't do that. He might have been like, hey, get in touch with me. Have your people call my people. We'll set something up later. But there's a lot of speculation going on right now that Shane will not only sign with AEW, but perform at Wembley Stadium at All In. And Wembley is next month. I mean, we're days away from August. I don't even know. Today's 31st. Tomorrow is August 1st. Wembley's in August. We're there. So if you're going to put him on the card, why not sign him today or whenever that photo may or may have not been taken? Because they're in South Carolina tonight, I do believe. So why not sign him and then show up on Dynamite tonight to start something for Wembley if you're going to put him in Wembley?
We are so far ahead of the horse here. What will Shane do? I think that there's one of three choices that we're going to look at here. I think a lot of AEW hopefuls, like I am disgruntled. I have not been watching it. I am amenable to the idea if it becomes something that I would want to watch. Do we think that Shane O'Mac is coming there to be a booker? We don't know if Shane O'Mac can book. You know what I'm saying? We know that he's been around some of the greatest minds that's ever been in the business. And we think and you hear a lot of people, not just the God Emperor Cornette, say that Shane O'Mac is their favorite McMahon. Is Shane O'Mac coming to be the booker? Is he coming to be a performer? Or is he coming to be a leader in the locker room and also jump off the highest structure that AEW has on their set?
So I want to go ahead and say all three. So I don't think Shane can go and be a part of a wrestling company and not perform in ring. Yes, he's a great mind, probably behind the scenes. Like you said, he's been around the best of the best, and there's no disputing that. He's literally been around every great mind that's worked in the professional wrestling industry in his lifetime. Be it guys that came over from WCW when it was bought out, the start of the WWF, his grandfather in the WWF. He knows how to control this environment. So one thing that I read today is they believe that they're going to bring Shane McMahon in. Tony Khan is going to bring Shane McMahon in to be a tier down from him above the EVPs, a guy that is going to be a true gatekeeper. So you will have Tony Khan, the business guy with the big ideas and the paycheck to support everything, that will eventually be the yes or no absolute guy. Shane will probably potentially be your creative control. I mean, he will be your COO. He will be your Triple H with Vince McMahon. He will be the guy running the day to day while Tony Khan says, yeah, we can afford that. No, we can't. I think personally it would be a great idea, but there's no way he's going to join a wrestling company and not jump off of something.
It's
There's no way.
the that question actually came from brother Adam. Shout out, brother Adam. Uh, like he's old. That's the problem. So let me go the other way with it. You are a lifetime AEW fan. You went to the very first event that eventually birthed AEW. You, unlike a lot of your brethren, are actually objective about this shit. I think you're probably the most objective AEW fan that I know, and I don't know many of them actually. Do they need Shane McMahon? We could go through the whole they've signed just about everybody else. When you think about it, he's kind of the only one that's left. Are you of the mind that AEW is obviously ticket sales are down? Uh, there's not been that big ballooning of audience capture on Wednesday to Friday and Saturday. Is Shane O'Mac what the doctor ordered, in your opinion?
So I think he will be a great rating spike from day one. Because and again, we talked about that in our future Patreon chat. Um, if they're smart, they will. If he doesn't show up tonight, he shows up next Wednesday, and they will promote in 1 week. We'll sit down with Mr. McMahon. Obviously, people that are on the inside are seeing that Shane and Tony are in talks, so they're going to know it's Shane McMahon. But maybe people that don't see, maybe WWE fans that aren't paying attention to what's going on, are be like, man, Mr. McMahon's going to be on AEW TV. Could be a tell-all, could be some revealing things. Maybe he's going to take over and start running that company. We got to watch and find out. Who knows? But what AEW needs and what they've needed for a long time is an assertive gatekeeper. They need somebody to say, no, you're not doing that tonight. And no, you're not doing that ever, because it's stupid and it doesn't make any sense. If it makes sense and you can find a way to prove to me that it makes sense, then we'll talk about it. But until then, no, you're not doing it. And I think Shane's been around long enough, and he's been around big enough personalities, and he's carried himself professionally in those environments that he's not going to care to look at somebody like the Bucks or Kenny Omega and be like, no, you're not doing it. This is my job to tell you no. I'm telling you no. Take a hike.
Okay, that brings up, can that bring a lot of heat to the locker room? If you want to believe the sheets, they didn't like, they being the majority, if you will, but you could argue that maybe it's not the majority. But are we going to have people backstage who are used to having a certain amount of clout, a certain amount of pull, being usurped by the enemy, question mark, because it ain't Vince, but it's a McMahon?
Sure, absolutely. But you're going to have that no matter who they put in that role. It doesn't have to be somebody from the other side. It could be somebody homegrown that's been in AEW from day one and given a position of power and be like, okay, now your job is to tell them yes or no. And they're going to be big crybabies about it, because most big personalities are. If they don't get their way, they turn their Karen mode on and they go somewhere. I mean, but truthfully, it's Hogan and WCW. That ain't going to work for me, brother. Okay. That's why we don't do creative control clauses as much anymore, because Hogan ruined WCW in one pay-per-view. I mean, let's be real about it. So it would happen with anybody. It doesn't have to be that Eddie Kingston's going to get mad just because it's Shane. Eddie Kingston's going to get mad when it's anybody saying, stop doing those stupid chops in the corner. They look dumb and they don't make sense.
So are you of the mind that it is needed?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. That's their drawback from day one. We all assumed and hoped that in the beginning it was going to be Cody, but I don't think Cody wanted to ruffle too many feathers at the time, because he wanted to develop and build this happy-go-lucky environment, when in reality he should have been that gatekeeper from day one, saying, yes, you can, no, you can't, you guys are going to do this, you're going over, you're not, sorry, you're not making the cut, you got to go. But he never put himself in that position, because there were other people in the company like Jericho and Moxley, and different ones that had some status about them that I don't think he wanted to cause too much conflict with the bigger, higher paid stars. But they need somebody in that role.
This is why Derek is the only objective AEW fan. He does not think with his heart. He thinks with his mind, and a lot of the IWC on both sides think with their heart. Now, let's end it with this because we're going to go watch Dynamite. I'm actually going to watch Dynamite for the first time in fucking years, and we may have an amendum to this episode, but leave us with this. It seems like you identify that yes, it's not the Hindenburg, maybe it's not the Titanic, but maybe it's not that far away. It's probably not because there's enough capital to keep it afloat as long as he wants to keep paying the salaries. What are two, three, four things that you would love to see Shane McMahon come in right now and you think that would help fix the brand if you think it needs fixing?
They they really need the biggest thing in my opinion. We talk about long term storytelling with AEW, and they do that to an extent, but sometimes that storytelling is coincidence. It's, hey, we did something a long time ago. We can tease it a little bit more, but they have no direction as to where those stories are going. They need overall direction. They need to set down, WWE plans out WrestleMania a year in advance. This is where we're going. I don't think AEW does that. They play to the crowd a lot, and they listen to the crowd, and they make changes and audibles quickly because of the crowd. And I'm not saying that's a bad idea at times, but you have to have trajectory of where you're going to go and how you're going to get there, and I don't think they have that yet. They've been operational for 6 years now, and it's not there's no clear pattern or storyline of anything. He needs to tell Jericho, stop making groups. Everybody on the card, really.
You could have just been tell him to stop.
You could just tell him to stop. Yeah, that's fine. But everybody on the card is in a faction too. Stop doing that. Have two major factions, maybe three. Develop a solid tag team structure for your show, because they have a great tag division, but they keep throwing people randomly together to be a part of it instead of just utilizing what they have. There's no stars being truly developed, no household name stars.
Except for
the closest thing that I think that they've done since they've started is Darby with Stink. But
MJF?
Is he a household name?
No.
He's not, but he should be, and he could be, but he's so good at being a bad guy. They're going to continue to play off of him being a bad guy. They're never going to allow him to be a household name, because they're going to continue to say, go out there and get some heat, get people talking about us. And that's great to get people talking about you. But if the only people talking about you are the people that are watching your show day to day, it's not doing anything for you. He needs to be out in the world. He needs to be a top tier babyface, and he needs to be the guy that they develop for the next 5 to 10 years to be a household name, but they're not going that direction the way they should be.
What about the women's division? How can Shane O'Mac come in and help with the women's division and be nice, Derek?
They have some decent women on the roster, but they don't do anything with them. It's the same thing.
Except for Tony Storm. Tony Storm seems to be, and I watch YouTube clips and I keep up with it, peripherally like that, because I still love wrestling. I just have not a lot of time, and I'm just not going to give them my time. I've been burned too many times. If a girlfriend cheats on you, it's hard to take her back. I think Tony Storm, by all accounts, has had, and we could sit here and we could argue that the heel turn by her
Mariah,
was quick and cringy and maybe not where we wanted that to go, but she, at least, I know what she is. When I see her, I know what she is. When I see Daniel Garcia, I don't know what he is. Right. You know what I'm saying? So I could say, I think if I were to put anything over with AEW, I think the Tony Storm stuff is at least consistent and has a through line.
Great character development and showing of the character. But where is Tony Storm going? What is she doing?
She's going to wrestle Mariah May, right?
But why? Because she turned on her up. Right. But what did that do for Mariah May? In reality, it should have been the other way around. Tony Storm should have continued the heel trajectory to take on Mariah May to develop a potential star, a baby face for the division.
Okay.
She's not strong enough as a performer or a promoter or a promo to be a heel. All she did was beat up the person we like to see. But if Tony Storm would have turned on her, get that sympathy going, man. Like use that.
Like how the Miz got Sandow over,
Yes.
and how the Miz got what's that guy that he was in Glow? He was real pretty, like his first lackey that he almost got over.
Alex Riley.
Alex Riley, dude,
Yeah.
the Miz almost got Alex Riley over in
Yeah.
that same situation that you just described. So, and you could talk about many, many others. That's, something that Jeff Jarrett says. Some of this shit's real easy because it's been done a lot, and you can watch it and you can do it, and it'll work because we know it's been working for decades.
Right.
So to wrap this up, I'm going to wrap it up with a question that I think may indicate that we need Shane O'Mac, and it's a rhetorical one. Where's Scorpio Sky? Where did he go?
Who knows, man? Like I don't know what's going on there.
Is that a good question?
He's probably on the injured list because I think they have like
No, he's been off
members.
the injured list for 2 years. And my point is, I know that you kind of liked him back in the day, and he's just been gone.
I do like Scorpio Sky. What his status is I don't know.
I know that from a dirt, he said he had a quote. He said that he did get injured, but that was 2 years ago. And he said that once you get on the bench, it's very, very difficult to come off of it, because maybe that's where Shane O'Mac needs to come and needs to, let's look at this bench, and do we need all these people? Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, you've got somebody like Shane, like, dude, Scorpio Sky's great. Am I wrong about this?
No, he's top tier talent, but I guess in their mind, maybe they haven't looked at him the right way because he's always been with Christopher Daniels, Frankie Kazarian, Ethan Page. He's always had a sidekick, and maybe they're afraid to give him an opportunity as a singles. But the dude's good.
So I think that's where we can end it right there. I think we need more consistency in AEW, and Shane O'Mac might be someone to come there and right the ship. This may all be a work, and maybe they were just doing their football draft a fantasy football draft for all we know, or we may get off the meeting here and go turn our TVs on, and Shane O'Mac is jumping off a 48-foot ladder. So, Derek, thank you for coming back. You got to come back more. The crowd loves you because they should. I am Steve, and for the rest of these fucking nerds in the House of Kayfabe, we'll see you next time, or we'll see you here in a minute.
No Shane tonight.